I am Ritu, and today in this class, I am going to teach you about social reform movement, and I want to focus on Raja Ram Mohan Roy. So, when we will talk about social reform movement in colonial India, and here we are talking about social reform movement in early 19th century, then one name which is very famous, and the name is Raja Ram Mohan Roy, always came into our mind. So, we are going to discuss about Raja Ram Mohan Roy in this video. So, this is the brief introduction about Raja Ram Mohan Roy, that he was born on 22nd May 1772. These dates are not much important, but it is very important to know that in which century he was born, because sometimes it will ask that the reform movement was created or started by Raja Ram Mohan Roy in which period. Then you should know the time period. You should not know the exact. It is not mandatory, but yeah, time period is very important. And his actual name was Ram Mohan Roy. The title Raja was given by Mughal Emperor Akbar II. So guys, don't confuse it with Akbar of 16th century. He was also a Mughal emperor, but yeah, he belongs to 16th century, and at that time Mughal empire was on its peak. But in Akbar's second time, Mughal empire was declining. So this is the thing, and we should know a fact about Raja Ram Mohan Roy, that he was linguist and he knows dozens of languages like Bengali, Arabic, Persian, Hebrew, English, Sanskrit, and others. So this fact is very important. You may wonder that why I am telling about this, just because you know uh, to know that he has written so many books, journals in various languages, and he promoted vernaculars. Later we will discuss that how he promoted vernaculars. And he was very closely associated with the East India Company. He worked as a political agitator, and then he also worked as a moneylender to Englishmen. And his famous book, which is also known as Tufat ul Muahuddin, and in English it is known as A Gift to Monotheism, is written by Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and the book is written in Persian language. I am discussing about language here because Raja Ram Mohan Roy was linguist, so he has written books in various languages. So here, language of the book is very important. That's why I am discussing this. And now we will talk about that why he is famous, because why we are talking about this person. So he was staunch critic of social evils like polygamy, child marriages, sati, and dowry. So we can look that all these social evils especially affects women a lot. And he was also known as father of Indian Renaissance. So we will talk about our next slide. Our next slide is about Rajaram Mohan Roy's contribution towards eradication of sati. So when it comes to that eradication of sati, one name, and he was the famous name that Rajaram Mohan Roy came to our mind. So he determined to eradicate sati system. So what made him to determine that he will eradicate this evil system from our society? So story is related that his bhabhi, a female relative, and more often his bhabhi, was burnt alive when his brother died. So that incident made him very upset. And at that time, he was determined that he will eradicate sati from our society. And first, we will know that what is sati system. So sati was an immoral practice in Hinduism, especially among upper caste Hindus, in which widow women were burnt alive along with their husband's funeral pyre. So we can see that how immoral and inhuman activity sati was. So we will discuss about the steps towards the eradication of sati from our society. So these are the legal, what you can say, academic step by Raja Rammohan Roy, that in 1880 he published a paper which name is A Conference Between an Advocate for an Opponent of the Practice of Burning Widows Alive. So in this paper he tried to make understand Indian masses that are Upanishad, our Vedas, our ancient scriptures says that Sati was an evil system and we should not practice this. And he visited cremation grounds, organized vigilance groups to observe that how Sati was, and he filed a counter petition against the evil practice. And with his efforts and struggle in 1829, government British-led government of India declared Sati as a crime. So this was a big achievement that he tried to make realize Indians that Sati was an evil and it is a crime. He condemned the misconception towards women that women are inferior in our society, they have not got the equal status. So he tried to upgrade that status. And he was the first one who talked about women's right in property. So this was the very new thing which Raja Rammohan Roy did, and we have already discussed about that he raised his voice against polygamy and miserable condition of widow women. So you may wonder that if widow women were burnt alive, so how few women are left and how their condition are miserable. So fortunately, few women are left alive, widow women. So but they are not allowed to live like others. They have some certain, they have to follow some certain code of conduct that they can wear only white saris, they cannot have spicy food. Their heads were show off so that not any man could not attract to them. So these kind of atrocities are present towards women. Our next slide is about, yeah, Roy's views on religion. You may wonder that why we are discussing Roy's views on religion. So Roy's views of religion is very important because with the help of religion he tried to make understand masses that religion should have a reason. And his idea of religion is different because he was searching a reason behind religion. And he said that religion could not be judged solely on its own internal scriptural evidence, but it should be measured by a reason and upholds a beneficial social order. He was a believer of monotheism, which means worshipper of one God, and he interpreted Vedas and Upanishad in his own ways, and he focused on rationality. So you will have a question of that what is rationality. So rationality gives you opportunity to interpret or to judge anything with all the factors, that you can also critique and you can tell the advantages of one thing. And he was famous for establishing Atmiya Sabha and Brahmo Sama. So these two sabhas were established by Raja Ram Mohan Roy to institutionalize his ideas on religion. And in these sabha, especially in Brahmo Sabha, which was established in August 1828, he tried to criticize caste system, and he condemned polytheism, which is multiple worshipper of God, and idolatry. That he was a staunch critique of idol worship, and he has not given any supreme authority to a particular scripture like other Hindu text, that Vedas have been given supreme authority, in Christianity Bible has been given supreme authority, and in Islam Quran has been given supreme authority. Next slide is about his other initiative. He was not famous for eradicating sati from a society. He tried to promote vernacular language from a society. He translated Upanishad, Vedas, Vedant Sutra into vernacular so that untouchables women can also read the Vedas and they can also know the teachings of these ancient scriptures. And in 1825, he established Vedanta College, and he introduced Indian and Western courses, and he tried to promote Western sciences and Indian learnings in his Vedanta College. And he was a strong supporter of freedom of press because at that time British have some obligation in press. So he was staunch he was supporter of freedom of press, and he at that time he knows the importance of liberty, equality and justice in our society, and he wanted Indian masses to become politically aware. That will eventually lead him that to reform or they will become socially aware. So first we will try to reform our society, and that eventually led our masses to politically aware and to fight for their rights. So last slide is about few expected questions, that these are the expected questions which can come from this section, and especially these main sections you need to know this, that elaborate the views of Raja Ram Mohan Roy on religion, that why his views on religion is important, because his views is totally different from orthodox Hinduism, and he was searching reason with religion. His religious views are based on rationality. And write a short note on efforts of Raja Ram Mohan Roy in emancipation of women, that how women are he helped in women empowerment. Thank you.